Have you ever wondered why the RTX 3050 gets such a bad reputation? Well, in this video, we're going to discuss why everyone actually thinks it's so terrible. Then we're going to slap it in the test bench to see how it performs in games in 2024. Then at the end of the video, we can look at the prices and see, is it really worth it in 2024? Now, to really put this all in perspective, we've got to really understand why people hated the RTX 3050 to begin with. Go on, do something. It really just boils down to this. The RTX 3050 was released in 2020, right after the great chip shortage when no one could find a graphics card that they really wanted. Everyone was super excited about it because they were getting a GPU for $250. That was new. And after the chip shortage, this was something we really all needed. Unfortunately though, for consumers, the RTX 3050 never saw the $250 price point. In fact, it stayed around $300 and probably even more in some places, and nobody really just wanted to pay that. And because of the excitement, people still dished out the $300 for this graphics card, hoping it would be the answer to what they had been waiting for so long. And boy, were they not happy. Shame on you, 3050. People just didn't get what they paid for $300. They were pretty upset. But this leads us to 2024. Is this card actually viable now, 2 years later? Especially with all the upscaling technology we have. Now for our trusty test bench that we're running over here, we got an i5-12600K and 32 gigs of RAM. And in Starfield, we tried a bunch of different settings. Starting with 1440p with no upscaling, we got 52 FPS. Then we went to high settings with no upscaling and we got like 44 FPS. But to give it the old fighter's chance, we also tried it with DLSS on the medium settings and we got 65 FPS. At 1080p with medium settings and no upscaling, we got around 70-ish FPS. High settings, no upscaling, 58 FPS. Then we went kind of crazy and did ultra settings, no upscaling, it was only 53 FPS. So then we turned on DLSS and it was like 65-ish FPS. Now some people absolutely just love their ray tracing, so we tried Cyberpunk 2077. Medium, no upscaling, we got like 41 FPS. Low, no upscaling though, we got 56 FPS, so we could probably tweak it and get 60, with DLSS. But did we do that? No, we tried ray tracing all the way on low with DLSS and super resolution, and we got 43 FPS. But at 1080p on the ultra settings, no upscaling, we got like 48 FPS. Then we went crazy and tried medium ray tracing settings, and we had to turn on DLSS and super resolution to even have a fighting chance, and we got 41 FPS. Now those FPS numbers are nothing to write home about, but we tried some easier games for you guys like Warzone. Now Warzone's definitely not my jam, but we do it for the people. Ultra settings, no upscaling, we got like 55 FPS dropping out of the plane. It was a little stuttery, so we turned on DLSS. That's hard to say sometimes, And I hit a deagle shot, which I never do, because we were on 65 FPS. Then we tried the balance preset settings with, no FSR, and we got like 70-ish FPS. DLSS got us 5 extra FPS at 75 FPS. Then we went a little bit crazy. We went to like basic settings, which is almost the lowest, but not quite the lowest. We turned on DLSS and it only really helped us a little bit. We got like 80-ish FPS. Didn't help me hit a snipe though. Then we tried 1080p on the ultra settings with no upscaling. We got 70 FPS and DLSS helped us a lot at 1080p, getting us 84 FPS. Then to give us the biggest FPS boost, we turned everything on the basic preset settings, DLSS, 110 FPS. If you want more FPS, then press that like button. It works. Halo Infinite is pretty nostalgic for me, but testing Halo Infinite is really annoying because it makes you restart the game every time you change your settings. So we just tested it twice, once at 1440p, once at 1080p on the lowest settings possible. And at 1440p on the lowest settings, we got like 80 FPS. And at 1080p, we almost got 120 FPS. But not quite, it was like 115. So that run of games definitely performed better with this graphics card, but let's go even further and try some even easier to run games. We tried Apex on 2 different settings, minimum settings for the most FPS, and max settings just because it looks cool. At 1440p on the low settings, we got like 120 FPS. And maxed out settings at 1440p, we got like 80 FPS. Then at 1080p on the lowest settings, we were pushing 200 FPS, but I would feel more comfortable saying the average was like 180. we maxed those suckers out and we got around like 120 FPS. If you're interested in any of the parts you see in this video, there are affiliate links down below. Go check them out. Now it's time for the granddaddy of them all, or at least it would be if they hadn't have ruined this season of Fortnite. But anyway, we tried it at DX12 and performance mode, and when we ran it on DX12, it was like competitive settings, so you know, kind of the same thing as performance mode, but it just looks a little bit better. Performance mode was absolutely awesome because we got like 280 FPS. But 1080p is the showstopper, you know, so at DX12 on the competitive settings, we got like 200 FPS. In performance mode, which everybody likes to run, so I'm starting to add it in these GPU videos. Got over 300 FPS, like we're talking 350 most of the time, but I still struggled to, you know, kill the bots. Before we decide if this graphics card's even worth looking at or considering, we definitely need to look at the prices. Brand new 3050s on Amazon, brand new 3050s on places like Amazon are like $250 to $300, even more in some cases. Absolutely not worth it at all in that price range. But just like any other older graphics card, it's better to go on the used market. Now, when we checked out eBay's average sold price for the 3050, we got anywhere from like $140 to $180. And considering this graphics card is a little bit better than the 1660 Super, and you're gonna have driver support for longer, if you can get it on that low end of around 140, it is not terrible if you absolutely just must have NVIDIA. So that's why everybody's so mad. It's the pricing. It's not really the performance. It's definitely the pricing. So if you'll trust me on this, then go check out this video because it's more affordable and it's way better performance.